Hello. Today we're going to read the last story for the week, Up, Up and Away. Kieran hadn't slept a wink. He had been waiting for this day for what felt like an eternity. As the trees rushed past, Kieran gazed out of the taxi window. His sister, Neve, was sleeping next to him. After all, it had been a very early start for them. The taxi pulled up next to lots of others. Kieran woke Neve and they helped Mom to unload the suitcases. As they walked towards the airport, they could hear the sounds of engines in the distance. "Look up there!" squealed Neve. It was a huge airplane landing on a nearby runway. Kieran felt like he might burst with excitement. The children gazed up at the sign above their heads. "Terminal 4, smiled Kieran. "We're here." As they entered the airport, the children could see lots of people busily rushing from one place to another. There were all kinds of people, from families with a trolley full of suitcases to the smart business people running to their next meetings. There were lots of signs showing them which way to go. So there are the signs. Check-in desks, arrivals, baggage, security desks, food court. Kieran looked inquisitively at one of the signs. "This way," Mom smiled as she hurried them over towards a long line of people. "We need to get checked in." The line of people moved very slowly. Kieran and Neve sat on their suitcases while they waited for their turn. After having a few games of I Spy, they were finally at the front of the queue. "Next, please," called a man from behind the desk. "Can I see your passports?" The men checked their passports, weighed their suitcases, and then sent them along a conveyor belt. "Where are they going?" gasped Neve. "They are going onto the plane," the man smiled. "Bye-bye, suitcases," giggled Neve. After collecting their tickets, Mom looked up to the signs to see where they needed to head next. "Security," she said. "This way." Kieran and Neve followed Mom through the maze of people carrying their hand luggage. They arrived at the security desk and were greeted by a woman. "Hand luggage on here, please," she grinned. Kieran and Neve put their backpacks into a shallow gray tray. They watched as their belongings disappeared into a black box. "They are just checking that there isn't anything dangerous in them," Mom said reassuringly. Kieran watched in amazement as the contents of his bag appeared on a little screen. "It can see inside without even opening it," he gasped. The children walked forward and saw an archway in front of them. They watched as a woman walked through the doorway. A security guard appeared to wave a wand over their clothes before they were allowed to carry on. "What are they doing?" asked Kieran anxiously. "Just checking that people are safe before they get on the plane," Mom replied. "I'll go first to show you." Kieran and Neve waited apprehensively as Mom walked through the archway. It only took a few moments and then he waved the children on. They both stood still while the man waved the wand at their clothes before he smiled and gestured at them to carry on. That was strange, thought Kieran. As they turned the corner, Kieran and Neve were surprised to see a whole row of shops appear. There was a newsagent's, a barber's, lots of restaurants, and even a toy shop. "Can we get a magazine for the flight?" asked Kieran. Okay, said Mom, let's go and see what they've got. Kieran and Neve chose their magazines and a packet of sweets for the journey as a treat. We need to head to gate 11, Mom announced. That's where our plane will be waiting for us. They held Mom's hands and followed the signs carefully to gate 11. There were lots of other people sat waiting patiently on seats. An announcer explained that gate 11 was ready for boarding and everyone began to make their way to a little desk with a door behind it. The woman at the desk checked their passports and tickets. Have a lovely flight, she smiled. They walked along a corridor with little windows in it. Kieran was just tall enough to see the enormous plane waiting on the runway for them. Welcome aboard. A man grinned at them as they arrived at the door to the plane. Kieran helped his mom by finding their seats. 11A, 11B, and 11C, he said as he pointed to the row. Mom put their backpacks into the special cupboards above their heads while Kieran and Neve sat down and put their seat belts on. Kieran looked out of the window. He could see one of the huge wings of the plane. Wow, said Neve, bouncing in her seat with excitement as the engines began to rumble beneath them. The plane slowly began to move along the runway. All of a sudden, the rumbling sound grew to a loud roar, and the plane began to hurtle down the runway so fast that Kieran was pushed back into his seat, whoop, like this. His heart was fluttering with excitement, and his stomach did a little flip as he felt the plane lift into the sky. He couldn't believe that he was about to embark on the adventure of a lifetime. The end. Bye bye.